Welcome back to our podcast, Hispano Backstage. We are very excited to have our guest today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Lansing Adams. I have the pleasure of serving as the acting cabinet secretary for the state of New Mexico's Department of Tourism, New Mexico True.
Well, and this is why it's so important for us, is that you do so much for us, our state, and the community. But tell us, how did you get started in this role?
Yeah, so it's been a journey. I had the privilege of sort of starting my career with Secretary Monique Jacobson when we launched New Mexico True. That was 14 years ago.
Wow.
Getting old.
Hard to believe it's 14 years ago.
Getting old. Had more hair. So
we both
look,
did.
God bless that hair.
Too, yeah.
But yeah, so I had the opportunity of working with her and learning under her, and then learning what New Mexico True was about sort of from the beginning, about adventure steeped in culture, about sight doing and not just sightseeing. And she was just a really inspirational leader. And then I had the opportunity to work also with Rebecca Latham, who was an incredible cabinet secretary, and Jen Schreier, who was my predecessor, incredible cabinet secretary. So really just on the shoulders of giants, I think, opportunity that I've had. I've kind of worked through state government, done some other things. I was deputy operations director for CYFD. I moved away for a while. I did some operations work with the design build company in Austin. I was the assistant real estate commissioner in Arizona.
Did not know that
and then came back. So thank you, Jen Schreier, for bringing me back. And
Thank you, Jen.
I'm so glad I'm back.
So take me, when you guys did the New Mexico True, was this like a round table? Do you remember like the person who said, I got an idea, let's call it New Mexico True? Yeah,
so it was an evolution, but it was very well thought out. Monique came from a background where she Wharton educated, worked for PepsiCo, worked for Gatorade, launched the G2 campaign. So she was very savvy at marketing. And really we had to find what our brand essence was. We did a lot of focus groups, and we did a lot of just sort of a real soul searching within, but then also an understanding of our market, an understanding of what sort of those gaps were. And as it's always a joke, people don't even really know we're a state oftentimes. And I think we're breaking through on that, but really it was an evolution. And what we finally came to was an adventurous spirit and a thirst for authenticity, which was sort of what birthed New Mexico True. And it's been an incredible journey. We just had, really proud to announce this, we just got our return on investment study. So now we're at a 9-to-1 return on investment.
Congratulations.
To the tax base. So that's basically tax income coming in. So of every dollar we invest, $9 comes in. I mean, it's really, when I started, it was 3-to-1, and that was a huge accomplishment. Anytime we can return money back to the state of New Mexico to contribute to the services that our families need and depend on, I take that very serious, and I'm really proud of sort of the work and the results.
Whenever somebody in the community, businesses have that New Mexico True stamp, it holds some weight.
It does.
Because we want to do business with people who do business in the state of New Mexico.
Absolutely.
What does it take to become certified and have that badge?
Yeah, so New Mexico True Certified, we're over 500 partners now, 500 businesses, small businesses around the entire state. Really, if you make your product in New Mexico, you source your product from New Mexico, you can have that seal of being New Mexico True Certified. And that opens up a lot of opportunities for folks. We're always trying to find new opportunities, but we have holiday gift guides, we have summer gift guides in New Mexico Magazine, free to our partners, where they can use that opportunity to sort of increase their sales. And we've heard just great feedback from that. But additionally, we're working right now with the Sunport, and you'll notice that with the incredible, new space, the vendor space that they have, which I'm proud of, very proud of. Many of those, majority of those businesses are New Mexico True certified.
Yeah, they're
businesses.
certified. They're members of ours as well, and so having that collaboration between the two badges, I think, is great for our community and the small business.
And real shout out to the Sunport, to all their staff, I mean, really, they knocked it out of the park. You go to other airports and you come back and you realize what a special thing we have. And there was a while, when it was under construction where you're like, what is this going to look like? And, I was just recently flying to Las Vegas, Nevada. We're actually
First
working
class.
with
He only flies first class, guy.
No, I was in the back of the plane. But with the Michelin Guide folks, just our airport's just beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It really is something to celebrate. So we're trying to find, how do we make those opportunities and those connections so that when people are traveling here, they can take something back with them.
And now they're opening it so you can go there even if you don't have a flight. You can get a pass and actually take advantage of shopping, eating at some of our local spots.
Yeah, so again, I think with the certified program, we're just trying to add value to that program so that our small businesses can be successful.
Okay, so now we know where you're at in your career, which I'm a huge fan of. Let's figure out how you got started. Do you remember what your first job was?
I was a cart kid at Chamisa Hills Country Club, which unfortunately is no longer around in Rio Rancho. Shout out to now the mayor of Elephant Butte, Richard Holcomb, for the $5 tips when I would clean his golf clubs, because at $5.50 an hour, that meant a lot.
A lot.
But it was a great job.
Are you a good golfer yourself?
No, I'm terrible. Ironically, no. I tried.
We have to get you. I'm going to golf with you.
I'm a lifelong learner.
Hack it up,
I'm a lifelong learner, so let's do it.
Did you ever
bring a lot of golf balls?
What's some of the best advice that you got as you started your career?
I would have to say, just to go back to Monique Jacobson, it's doing the right things for the right reasons. I mean, that's it, and that's, I think, what I try to instill in the culture of our team, and that's what I try to always sort of live that as best I can. I remember when I was speaking with her once, I had read something in an article about leadership, and it said, good managers do things the right way, but good leaders do the right things. And then she said, for the right reasons. And I just remember that because it really it caught me. And I think it's one of those things I try to internalize, because in these positions, I think that needs to be your focus every day. We serve the community. It's a huge responsibility. We've got a great team. They deserve that. And so, yeah, I think that's some advice that I've always tried to live.
How big is your team?
So we have 60 authorized employees. That includes everything from our administrative services to our marketing team to our research team. But we also have 4 visitor information centers that are around the entire state. Glen Rio, shout out to them. On the Texas border, Manuelito, shout out to them. On the Arizona border, we have our Santa Fe Visitor Center, and then we have Lordsburg. And a lot of those employees are sort of our longest standing employees in terms of their tenure with us. I mean, we have some employees who've been with us for over 20 years doing that work, and they're incredible. We were recently at a trade show in Chicago called IPW, and one of our employees was from San Juan. She works at that Glen Rio Visitor Center, Billy Joe Barnes. And I initially...
Real name? Billy
Joe Barnes. She's
that's
New Mexico
a strong
True.
name right there.
And so, I was really worried. I was like, she's from San Juan's, a rural population. She's going to get dropped into Chicago. And she just did so great. And she was one of the most valuable members of our coalition there, talking to these tour operators and these travel agencies from around the world, telling them about New Mexico. And I ran out of steam towards the end, but I remember I was part of a text chain, and she was ready to go out and finish and have dinner and meet with people. And so
for the love and state for the love for our state.
For love for our state.
So let me ask you 2 things. One, what is the most exciting thing that you think that's in the future for New Mexico? And then what is something that you think that we there's an opportunity for that we struggle with?
One thing that I think is exciting for us is we're really starting to compete on this major event sort of opportunities within the tourism economy. So recently we got the Roswell Air Races, which was formerly in Reno, and that was a big deal. That didn't just happen. That was all of Southeast New Mexico coming together and deciding this is what we wanted. And that is an event that I could see. They had 50,000 total tickets sold this past September. I could see that being 75. I could see that being up to 100 plus as it was in Reno, and that's huge economic development for Southeast New Mexico.
Yes,
and that was, again, a coalition of folks coming together, not being parochial, not looking at boundaries and borders, just looking at, let's come together as a region, and there's challenges, the amount of hotel rooms, the distances to cover, but the reception on that was great. And I think what's some of the best feedback was the pilots loved the course. Additionally, we have Ironman coming to Ruidoso. We have a big triathlon called Xterra that's international. And so we all know about
going on.
Yeah,
people say this all the time, even as local in Albuquerque for the chamber. There's so much going on in our city and state.
Absolutely. And I think that we just need to believe. We need to be ambitious, and we need to, punch above our weight, because I think we have a right to win in so many of these spaces. And I think once you get a taste of that, I think it's addicting, it's contagious, and I think it's going to be incredible for the state as we continue to get these events, because they're real tourism drivers. They extend trips, they give people reasons to come. So that's something that I'm excited about. And as far as, you mentioned challenges.
Yeah, what are some of the challenges?
I think even with the challenges going on sort of in the world with the economy and this and that, I think we're well positioned to be successful, because our brand really, it's foundationally about our authenticity. And that's something that resonates with people. And it's going to resonate with people, and it's going to transcend whatever the situation is, geopolitically, economically. And so, even though there are headwinds ahead of us, we're seeing that just with the entire world. Again, I think we're really well positioned to continue to be successful. And as I mentioned, the ROI numbers, I think that demonstrates we're not reaching sort of these diminishing returns. Even as our budgets increase, when that denominator changes, you would think it'd be the opposite. Right. But our ROI has gone up as that's happened. That's incredible. And so, really, again, proud of our
exciting.
team.
And you should celebrate that, because you and your team work really hard.
They are
to
great.
Make sure we put New Mexico in such a bright light. And over the last few years with you there, it's changed, and you see it.
Thank you, sir.
There's a lot of people have different things to say about New Mexico. Some of it can be negative. Some of it can just show that we have opportunity. But you and your team continue to shine a light on what's good.
And I want to say something about that. I hope that as a state, we can have some more discipline about sort of which stories we want to put out there. And I'm going to just say it, these Wallet Hub reports that come out and these stories that come out that put us in a bad light, these things are, they're there as clickbait. They're there to sort of appeal to our lesser angels about ourselves. Fight that temptation. It's easy to be critical, but there's so much positive going on, and there's so many great things to speak about with New Mexico. Don't fall into that easy trap of reporting on that stuff, or just really digging in on what we can't do or what we aren't, and think about what we are and how that has just made us so special.
See, now you know why I wanted Lansing. I want to run through a wall for New Mexico right now. I love this guy, and I love how you talk about it. We have Route 66 Centennial coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement there from a state level?
Yeah, so this is exciting for us. So the Route 66 Centennial year is upon us. There's been 2 years of planning and investment to the tune of about $5 million that's gone into supporting special events, some infrastructure projects, signage projects. You'll see it at Old Town. You'll see it in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. You'll see just sort of the look and feel being more like that Route 66 theme. We've done marketing pieces for every community along Route 66, from Tucumcari, Santa Rosa, Moriarty, all of them, Albuquerque, even the old route into Santa Fe. We're working with IPCC to really represent our tribal communities.
Love this.
And so, I think that we're excited. There's an international appeal to that. We did some international direct-to-consumer marketing, which we've never done, in Germany and the UK.
Wow.
We're doing a lot of things with travel trade.
Can I highlight that? Because not a lot of people know this either. Now, I follow New Mexico True and a lot of the staff members on social media. We do a lot of work outside of the state, outside of our country, to bring people here. Can you highlight that too?
Yeah, sometimes, I think it's important to talk about New Mexico True, because a lot of times folks don't see it because they're not necessarily in those markets we're trying to get. But we have a robust presence domestically, whether it's at the DFW airport or the DFW market or Houston or Denver or Arizona, or more recently in California. We've made big investments in LA and also in the Bay Area. So that's proven, that we have a strong ROI there. And then recently, as I mentioned, we have gone some international direct to consumer and some business to business work through our travel trade, trying to increase the amount of tour operators internationally that are seeing New Mexico, and increase the amount of products that are available and experiences that are available to those international tour operators.
I think that's great. When I first started following everything New Mexico True, you really think about the efforts and how far it reaches out. So when I was seeing, employees go to other things outside of our country and saying, hey, well, let's bring this to New Mexico. I'm like, yeah, why not us, right? That's
exactly.
the hashtag. Why not us?
Why not us?
Why can't you bring it here? So let me ask you a little bit about some tourism and some related grants that you might have that people like that are in the tourism, in the hotel business, maybe things like that. How can they benefit? How do they get grants?
So newmexico.org/industry. Start there. There's a robust menu of grants to support our industry, whether it's marketing with our cooperative marketing program. That's a 2-to-1 match on supporting your sort of local advertising. So as we're running these larger New Mexico awareness campaigns, we're also supporting an Albuquerque or a Tier C, or a Taos in terms of their identity under that brand. So look at that as a way to market your destination. On the infrastructure space, I'm really proud of our Destination Forward program, which is in its 3rd year now, at just under $2 million to support tourism-related infrastructure. So if you're looking at projects to improve the look and feel and sort of the placemaking of our community, look at that. Whether it's anything from improving visitor centers or historic buildings to public lighting, to just things that are going to make New Mexico's product shine. So that Destination Forward program. We also support events, as I mentioned. So our Tourism Event Growth and Sustainability Program, or TEGS as we call it, that can support whether you're a small event that needs a micro grant to get your website out there and looking good and the photography that you need and making sure it's bookable. We can assist with that. We can assist with marketing your event, and for some events, we can assist you with sponsorships if we could see the value just based off our brand impressions.
So many tools for our small businesses out there.
So many tools.
How do we become New Mexico True certified?
Yeah, so shout out to Brandy Velarde from our team. As I mentioned, over 500 businesses that she has the opportunity to work with. Think about that. That's more businesses than days in the year.
Wow.
So, she's
putting in the work.
She's putting in the work. But yeah, again, newmexico.org/industry. If you have a product that's made in New Mexico, sourced in New Mexico, we're not certifying, we're joking about this, whether it tastes good or smells good, although I would
they don't discriminate.
Although I would guess it does.
Yep.
What we're certifying is that it's made in New Mexico. We want to make sure that money stays in New Mexico and circulates around our communities.
Well, as you know, the Hispano Chamber has a convention and tourism department, which we're very lucky to have. But let me ask you kind of one of these final questions. How can the Hispano Chamber continue to support you and your efforts? What would you like to see from a chamber like ours, and how we can assist?
We can't do this work without you all. We can't do it without you guys. I mean, you guys, you, Roberta, Ernie, your entire team have been invaluable to us. And I always have said, let's do a big thing every year, events-wise, so that we can really celebrate New Mexico. Let's make sure that we're sharing sort of our networks so that, your members have access to our programs, and that you guys can be sort of a megaphone of what we're doing, because we need you all so that we can continue to grow our programs. And so I would just say, do a lot of what you're doing. I appreciate you. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I mean that sincerely.
Hey, listen, I'm a huge fan.
So, I would say that just be New Mexico. It's about our community. It's about the fact that you can pick up the phone and you can call somebody and you can trust that they will that they'll deliver for you.
The power of coming together and the power of collaboration.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we think of too. We as a chamber here in Albuquerque, we'd like to extend our efforts to you and just say we want to continue. You mentioned something that I want to highlight as we close this out, is it's about the positive. We do a lot of positive things as a city and a state, and we got to continue to highlight that, and don't fall into, as you said, the clickbait, to click into all the negative things that surround the state. Yes, they're there. but the only way you can outshine is just put a light on the darkness.
Absolutely.
And reason why I wanted to have you on here was because I feel like you're that constant light. So it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for what you do, Eric. Thank you for the Hispano Chamber. I appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Hispano Backstage. That's the man right there. Talk to you later.